All right, guys, what's up? Welcome back to our next Fit Focus Forum. So today's topic is going to be supplements. That was a requested topic by one of our clients in the program. I like to call this presentation today Pills, Powders, and Promises. Because let's be honest, it's overwhelming as hell out there. You know, every week there's a new viral TikTok powder uh, promising abs in a tub, right? Or collagen that's supposed to make you immortal, or some gay with 3% body fat selling fat burners that they've never used, right? So today we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about what works. We're going to talk about what's a waste, and we're going to talk about what's absolute snake oil. And most importantly, how to know if you actually need that thing that you're about to throw in your cart on Amazon. So let's start with the science-backed basics. All right. These are supplements that actually have research behind them, not influencer hype, not bro science, not the whole my cousin took this once and swears by it, right? Protein powder is one of them. This is not magic. It's just convenient. So, you know, if you struggle to hit your protein goal from food, a shake really is an easy fix, but it's a food replacement, not a necessity. If you're getting enough protein from chicken, eggs, fish, tofu, lentils, and all those other great protein sources, then you're good. If not, a scoop of whey or plant-based protein can really be your best friend and help you hit your protein goals. And I know that a lot of our clients are using protein powders to help supplement because they travel a lot or they lead busy lives. And all of our clients know exactly how much protein they need every single day. And if you're unaware of how much protein you need every day, please feel free to reach out and let's talk about that. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about here is creatine monohydrate. And so this is the most researched supplement on the planet. It really does help increase strength, muscle growth, and even cognitive function. It's not a steroid, so it's not dangerous. And if you're going to use creatine monohydrate, we recommend 5 grams a day, every single day, even the days that you're not working out. And that's it. I usually recommend to take it before, or right after your workout. It is dirt cheap, which is a huge bonus of creatine monohydrate. It's about $15 to $20 for a month's supply. And if you lift and you want to build muscle, creatine is a green light. So let's talk about how creatine actually works, right? Your muscles use, I'm going to get scientific again on these as I like to do. Your muscles use a molecule called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. We've talked about that in other Fit Focus forums before. It uses it for quick, explosive energy, right? So think about heavy lifting, sprinting, jumping. Okay. The problem is that your body burns through the ATP in that energy system rather quickly. And that's where creatine comes in. So what creatine does is it helps replenish ATP more quickly. That means you can push out more reps. You can lift heavier weight. You can recover faster between sets. And then over time, you can build more lean muscle. What it also does is draw water into your muscles, and it makes them look fuller and improve cellular hydration, which is really great for performance and recovery. There's even emerging research showing benefits for brain function, which is pretty cool, especially under stress or fatigue, which is a big deal for busy, anxious clients, like most of the clients we have in our program, or even myself. But here's the thing. Why don't we recommend it to everyone as a necessity? Okay, because it only works if you're already doing the work. Creatine doesn't magically build muscle or burn fat on its own. If you are not strength training consistently, if you're not already eating enough protein, if you're not managing your recovery and your sleep, then creatine will not do much except give you slightly puffier muscles and more pee. Also, not everyone needs more power outputs in their workouts. If you're training more for mental health, general fitness, or just getting back into movement, it's not going to make or break your progress. For our clients who are already lifting regularly and want to maximize results, creatine is a smart low-cost add-on, right? But it's a cherry on top. It's not the reason you'll get abs or feel more confident naked. So if you're doing everything right and you want a small boost, go for it. But if you're still struggling with consistency, focus on the foundation first before you start adding in any of this stuff. The other one I want to talk about is caffeine. Okay. So caffeine is technically a supplement, right? It's the most widely used stimulant in the world. It's found in coffee, tea, pre-workout, energy drinks, and even some fat burners and focus pills, which we're going to talk about later. But when you use caffeine strategically, it can absolutely enhance your performance by increasing your alertness. It can reduce perceived effort during training. It can help you feel more focused and dialed in during your workouts. It can even improve endurance and strength to a modest degree anyway. So yes, your morning coffee can be part of your fitness routine, and a scoop of pre-workout, it can really help push you through a tough session. But here's where it starts working against you. So for a lot of our clients, especially the anxious, high achieving, and open overthinking type, right here, caffeine can become a double-edged sword. It can spike anxiety levels by increasing heart rate and stimulating the nervous system. It disrupts sleep, even 6 to 8 hours after you drink it, which is a really big thing for me. That's why I don't have caffeine after noon. It can create dependency where you feel like you can't perform or function without it. Anybody in this program filled out that initial athlete questionnaire, and it's one of the questions that we ask you. Do you think you can go without coffee after you wake up in the morning? I'll tell you, most people answer no, since it's such a common supplement that people use every day. But it also worsens your recovery because of poor sleep and chronic stress. And when your body is in a constant state of stimulation, it really becomes harder to tune in. It becomes harder to listen to your biofeedback, and it becomes harder to rest, all of which are extremely critical for fat loss, muscle recovery, and for mental health. So here's the deal. If you work out at night, please skip the caffeine. Don't do pre-workout if you're working out after work. Caffeine has a half-life of about 5 to 6 hours, meaning half of it is still in your system 5 to 6 hours after you consume it. And it can take up to 10 plus hours for some people to fully clear it. Hence the fact that I do not touch it after noon. And for the most part, personally, I like to just have my 1 cup of coffee in the morning, and then that's it. It just helps wake me up. So again, if you're hitting the gym after work and slamming pre-workout at 6 p.m., you're basically saying, yeah, I'd like to be wide awake, anxious, and restless till 2 a.m., please. Even if you fall asleep, caffeine can disrupt your sleep cycles. So you wake up groggy, you wake up wired, and what happens is you need more caffeine, and the cycle continues like any other drug. So what we recommend is to limit caffeine to the first 6 to 8 hours of your day, ideally before 2 p.m. Stick to 200 to 300 milligrams max per day, unless you're training for something intense. And then avoid it entirely on rest days if you're feeling overstimulated or if you're struggling with anxiety. Caffeine, one of the reasons I stopped drinking caffeine after noon myself, wasn't necessarily because of the whole sleep thing, although my sleep did improve. It was because I was extremely anxious and struggling more and more with my anxiety. All right. But once I stopped drinking caffeine, my anxiety levels went down a lot. I'm not saying it was a cure for my anxiety at all. But if I have caffeine in the afternoon or any point after breakfast, I have a noticeable spike in my anxiety levels, and I'm very, very sensitive to it. So if you're really struggling with anxiety and you find yourself drinking caffeine all day long, the first thing you should do is try to cut it out. And, it's like any other drug. If you try to cut it out all at once, you're probably going to have withdrawals. So cut out a little bit at a time. Like cut out that last cup of coffee you have at the day, and then slowly, slowly, slowly work your way up until hopefully you're only having that 1 cup of coffee in the morning to get you going like I've gotten to. It took me a long time to get there. So don't expect don't expect to have it happen overnight. So the whole point of the story is, yes, caffeine can help with performance, but if it's messing with your mood, your sleep, or your ability to recover, it's probably doing you more harm than good. Sometimes the best pre-workout is water. You should always pre-hydrate before you go to the gym. Also, a good playlist helps you get through, which, our only attendee today, Jeremy, is probably going to shut me off in a little while when he gets to his lift and start, with that playlist. And we already discussed that, so I'm totally cool with it. I can't work out without music. And literally going to bed the night before and getting your full 7 hours of sleep. Awesome pre-workout. That's going to give you the energy you need to do everything you need to do at the gym. So part 2 is the maybe pile. All right. This category is where we're in murky waters. This is where supplements might help, but only under certain conditions. They're not essential, but they're also not total snake oil. They fall somewhere in the middle. They're what I call situation-specific tools. You only reach for them if there's a real need, not just because your favorite shirtless influencer swears it changed their life. And I'm not talking about me. I'm a good shirtless influencer. Let's break a few of these down. So first of all, we have magnesium and zinc. And if you're a stress case and you're having trouble sleeping or grinding your teeth at night or live with constant low-level anxiety, this might be worth looking into. So magnesium glycinate, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that 100% correctly, is a calming form of magnesium that can help with muscle relaxation, better sleep quality, and it can even help with your mood regulation as well. If you're constipated, there's magnesium citrate. That might be better. So there's 2 different kinds. It really helps move things along if you know what I'm talking about. As for the zinc, it plays a role in hormone regulation. It also plays a role in immune function and testosterone production. So it's worth considering if you're feeling extra run down, if your libido has tanked, or if you're recovering from illness or high stress. But here's the catch. If you're eating a nutrient dense diet, which means a lot of greens, nuts, whole grains, lean proteins, and you're sleeping well, you may not need to supplement these at all. So here's the thing. If you're anxious, wired, and restless at night, though, this combo is generally considered safe and simple experiment to try. All right. So don't write it off completely. So here's something that falls in the maybe column that I do recommend to all of my clients, just so that we're covering the bases. Right. They're called omega-3s or fish oils. Right. It's one of those inflammation buzzwords, right? Omega-3. It gets thrown around constantly, but for good reason, because omega-3s support brain health, heart health. They support joint support, and they can even help with mood regulation. And it's huge for clients who deal with anxiety or depressive tendencies. But, and this is important, if you're already eating fatty fish like, I don't know, salmon, sardines, mackerels 2 or 3 times a week, or you're getting ALA from sources like chia seeds, flax, or walnuts, you might already be covered. And if you're plant-based, you can get algae-based DHA supplements instead. What's not worth it is buying fish oil from clearance shelf at CVS. It's often really rancid, poorly stored, and oxidized, and it can do more harm than good. So the quality here does matter. I do take a fish oil every day. I don't necessarily focus on eating fish multiple times a week, so I cover my bases, and I make sure that I buy the fish oil on Amazon, Nature's Made, and then I get the stuff that doesn't taste like fish oil when you burp. Um, that one is really good. There's lots of other good stuff out there. If you want to dig more into that, just reach out to me, let me know. But that's the one that I usually recommend to clients when we do our onboarding call. This one I actually see a lot of people coming into the program already taken. It's multivitamins. Uh, I like to talk about multivitamins like they're your overprotective gay aunt, right? They're not harmful, but they're probably overdoing it. Most people don't absorb everything in a multivitamin because the dosages are weird. The bioavailability is low and they're not customized to what you personally actually need. But here's the thing. If you travel a lot, if you skip meals, if you struggle with variety in your diet, or you're in a high stress chapter of life, then a basic high quality multi can really help fill in the gaps. Just don't expect it to replace actual fruits and veggies, which a lot of people rely on it for. And no, those gummies, the men's wellness ones from Target that taste like candy, they definitely do not count. So vitamin D is another one. It's technically a hormone actually as well, not a vitamin. And it plays a role in immune function, mood stability, bone health. We've got more testosterone production. And yes, possibly body composition and muscle performance. But here's the deal. Most people in North America are deficient, especially in the winter months. All right. Or if you work indoors all day. Again, I'm going to raise my hand for each one of these that apply to me. You don't get much sun, or you wear sunscreen religiously, raising my hand again. And thankfully, wearing sunscreen religiously is not necessarily a bad thing to help avoid skin cancer, right? But it does have negative effects like blocking the vitamin D. Another thing is if you have darker skin, then you probably have less vitamin D as well because melanin reduces vitamin D synthesis. So this is maybe or must, depending on your geography and your lifestyle. So a good starting point with vitamin D is 2,000 to 4,000 IU daily. And IU just stands for the International Unit. It's how they measure it. But the best thing you can do if you're concerned with this is to get your blood levels checked. That is the only way to know if you actually need it, or if you're just guessing and adding another pill to your already packed supplement cabinet. I I have one of those pill boxes that I use, and there's a lot of shit in there, right? There's about 4 actual prescribed medications. No, excuse me. On certain days, there's 5 because I do supplement my TRT that I just announced to everybody that I was on with enclomiphene, which you take every other day. But that aside, then I've got fish oil in there. I take fiber pills because it's easier to take them than taking this spoonful of psyllium musk, et cetera, et cetera. I made the rule when it comes to supplements. If the box is full and I can't fit any more in it, then I'm not going to put any more in it. Right. I'm just making sure I choose the right ones that I feel like I need. And if I get to the point where I feel like I don't need that supplement anymore, like I start eating fish every single day, then maybe I'll take the fish oil out and put in something else that I think might be useful for me at the time. All right. But again, you're just adding to the pile and adding to the pile. And sometimes you don't need to add to the pile. So, you know, what makes all of these ones that I just talked about maybes? Because they depend on context. So if you're deficient or depleted, they might help a lot. If you're eating well, if you're sleeping, if you're managing stress, you may not need them at all. These are add-ons, they're not foundations. So they won't transform your life, but they can definitely fill in the small gaps that are holding you back from feeling your best. But you have to use them wisely. Okay, this is the part where I'm probably going to get a little worked up, and it's the snake oil part. Okay, this is the fun part for me. This is what I really wanted to talk about today. It's all the crap that looks good on your kitchen shelf, but drains your wallet and does absolutely nothing for your health or physique. And if anybody disagrees with me on any of this, I want you to message me so we can talk about it. All right, I've got the receipts. You've all probably bought at least one of these. I know I have, and you maybe still have it buried in your pantry. And if you're being honest, you don't actually know what it did because it probably didn't do much. So these are the products that rely on marketing, of the insecurities that they pull on social media, aesthetic packaging, and more than science or results, these are the things that cause you to buy these products. So the first one might surprise you a little bit, and it's branched chain amino acids, or as we call BCAAs. This is the classic gym bro staple, right? They sound scientific. They come in sexy neon flavors like watermelon, nuclear punch, blue raz freeze. They're often paired with shaker bottles or matching gym outfits, right? But here's the deal. If you're already eating enough protein each day, you do not need BCAAs, period. BCAAs are just three of 9 essential amino acids that your body needs. And you know what already contains all 9? A chicken breast, a scoop of whey, a tofu stir fry, or literally any complete protein source. So unless you're training fasted, or you're on a plant-based diet with low amino acid diversity, or you're in a cutting phase where your protein intake is very low, which none of our clients are because we don't underfeed here. All right. And I'm in a cutting phase right now. And I'll tell you what, the one thing that we keep consistent, and I think all of you guys have noticed, is we keep the protein where it needs to be. These things are just flavored water with a markup. So if you love the taste and it helps you hydrate, it's totally fine. But know what you're paying for. You're paying for a $50 Gatorade with less sugar. All right. Fat burners and thermogenics, these drive me nuts as well. And it sounds like what we all want, right? Pop a pill, sweat like crazy, get abs in 2 weeks. But reality check, fat burners don't burn fat. All they are is caffeine, random herbal ingredients with names like cayenne, yohimbine, garcinia, and green tea extract that might slightly increase your metabolic rate if you're lucky. And it'd be like 3%. But what actually happens? All right. Your heart rate spikes. You feel jittery. You lose a bit of water weight from sweating more, and your appetite might go down for a few hours. But if you're not in a caloric deficit with a smart protein-based nutrition plan, you're not really losing body fat. You're just tweaking your nervous system and crossing your fingers. And if you're already prone to anxiety or have heart issues, these can straight up be dangerous. Not extra fat burning dangerous, like hospital visit dangerous, right? So if you want to burn fat, get your food right, lift weights, walk, sleep, repeat. And you all know that, right? This is what every single one in the program is doing. It's not sexy, but it works and it will make you sexy. And you'll still have a working heart, which is also sexy as well. Okay, the next two are going to get me even more worked up. So detox teas and juice cleanses, it gets me really fired up because they're just fucking useless, right? And they're predatory. They're sold as solutions to a problem that you don't even have. All right, guys, your body is already detoxing itself 24/7. That's literally what your liver, your kidneys, your lungs, and your skin are all designed to do. You do not need to drink diarrhea tea for 3 days. You don't need to live on lemon cayenne water for a week. And you don't need to pay $130 for a pre-bottled cleanse made of apple juice and branding. These products are all rooted in a belief that your body is dirty, toxic, bloated, and broken, and that some supplement company can save you. Fucking no, all right? Eat fiber, drink water, and I'm going to say it again, sleep and move your body. That is the only detox you need. Nature already figured it out. Okay. Your body knows how to detox itself. If your body's not detoxing itself properly, you don't need a tea. You need a doctor's visit because something's going on. All right. Another one is collagen. Collagen is, listen, here's collagen. I'm not anti-collagen across the board. All right. There's nothing really wrong with it. All right. It can be helpful for skin elasticity, right? For joint health and possibly even connective tissue recovery as well. But the part that bothers me is the scammy part, right? Collagen is often sold as a protein supplement for muscle growth. We've had these in my house. I've taken them home in gift bags, right? From various fitness events I've been at in my life. Throw this collagen protein powder into your drink and get more protein in your diet. It's a problem because it's not a complete protein. Okay. It's missing essential amino acids like tryptophan, and it's low in leucine, which is crucial for stimulating muscle protein synthesis. So the translation here is if you're trying to build or maintain muscle, collagen is a weak source of fuel. What you're better off with is whey, casein, soy, egg, or if you're vegan or vegetarian, a high quality plant blend. If you want glowing skin and nails, sure, try collagen. All right. But that's not the business I'm in. So I'm never going to recommend that for you. If you're relying on it to hit your protein goal or fuel your training, you're getting half of the return on your effort. Okay. This is the other one that drives me nuts. And it's funny. I used to kind of be bought in on this. And then I learned more about science, green powders. So let me be clear. Green powders are not evil, but the way that they're marketed, that's where we hit trouble. They're sold like a miracle product. That's what bothers me the most. They're sold as a miracle product that gives you all of your fruits and vegetables. They're sold as a detox powder. They're sold as gut health. They're sold as energy. They're sold as immunity. They're sold as eternal life, apparently. But what you're actually getting is a mix of dried powdered veggies that are often heat processed and sprayed with enzymes. So yes, there may be some antioxidant benefits. There may be some digestive enzymes, and there may be some adaptogens. All right. If you don't know what adaptogens are, they're natural substances like herbs or roots or mushrooms that help your body adapt to stress and maintain homeostasis. But if you think a scoop of green dust is replacing real fiber, real chewing, and actual micronutrient nets food, then you're just playing yourself. Green powders are not a replacement for broccoli, spinach, berries, sweet potatoes, or any colorful plant that grew from the ground. Listen, they're add-ons at best. They're helpful if you travel, if you have a restrictive diet, or if you generally really struggle with getting fruits and veggies. So, not against them. I'm just against the way that they're marketed. If you replace all of your fruits and vegetables with a green powder, then you're not getting any fiber in your diet. And if you're not getting any fiber in your diet, we need to have a conversation because your body's not functioning the way it needs. It's going to be extremely difficult for you to lose weight. So don't skip the salads with a scoop of dusty kale, all right? Thinking that you're all set. So all of these things that we just talked about, right? Why do we fall for all of these things? Why do we keep buying this stuff? Because we're looking for control, because we're overwhelmed, because we want a shortcut. That's what our modern lives are all about, right? Amazon, getting food delivered, protein powders, green juices, things like that. We're just trying to get to what we need to get to as fast as possible so we can deal with everything else in our lives. And the fitness industry loves this, and they love to prey on that. They know gay men are bombarded with impossible body standards. They know that you feel behind. They know that you're busy and anxious and comparing yourself to shirtless guys on your Instagram feed. So what they do is they take that Instagram feed and they slap a promise on a pretty label, and they hope that you're desperate enough to click buy now. But here's the truth. Supplements will not fix inconsistent habits. They won't fix bad sleep. They won't fix a lack of protein. They won't help you move more. And they certainly are not going to keep you accountable. They're called supplements because they're meant to supplement the foundation, not to replace it. So here's what to do instead. And here's what we do with our clients. Eat mostly whole foods. Make sure you hit your protein targets daily. Make sure that you strength train, excuse me. I almost made it to the end without coughing. That's been there for like 3 minutes. Get 7+ hours of sleep. Make sure that you drink plenty of water. 6 pints a day is the goal. Make sure you walk more, 7,000 to 10,000 steps, and just relax sometimes. Chill the hell out. Make sure you do mindset activities. Do breathing exercises, gratitude journal. Don't run around every second of every day that you're not sleeping. right? We need to give our body rest and recovery even outside of those 7 hours of sleep. Then in this situation, maybe using a few smart supplements to fill the gaps is a good thing. But if you can't do that first list consistently, then don't start with the second. All right. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. So, do you really need that? Maybe, but probably not. Supplements are the sprinkles, they're the icing, but the cake, the results, the confidence in your body, that's built from how you live. It's built from how you eat, and it's built from how you show up for yourself when no one is watching. Uh, it just reminds me of a saying that somebody said that I don't necessarily agree. Well, I guess I do agree with this. You can really tell what kind of person you are by the things you do when no one's watching, right? And you know, these are one of the things that you can think about. All of the things that you do when no one's watching. That list that I just talked about before. You know, if you're saying on your check-in form that you get 7 hours of sleep, but you're only getting five, you're not lying to me or anybody else or any of your coaches. You're lying to yourself, right? So we just want to make sure that we're keeping ourselves accountable by being honest, so that the people in your life that can help you will. All right. So next time you see a hot guy holding a tub of powder, just ask yourself, is this for me or is this just another distraction from the work that actually matters? All right. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I actually really enjoyed putting this one together very much. And I'm glad that it was recommended or asked for by one of our clients to talk about today.